The next part of the process is gluing it on. So once we get the shape of the soundboard on there, there's protruding about roughly 5 to 10 mil. I've put a pencil mark along the outline of the actual instrument, and what I'll be doing is you'll see it there and there. I'll be putting glue, once I get the glue, just putting it along here on the inside. You can go on the outside as well, but just on the inside, about 10 mils of glue along there, and also applying it along here as well. So applying the glue all around here. Now the glue that I'm using is rabbit hide glue. That's it there. I'll just show the texture of it. That's it there. Little crystals, a bit like wax. And what I'll be doing is I use a little coffee little maker thing here, stainless steel, with a brush. And what I'll do is I'll place some of the crystals in there under heat and then add water, and they'll melt with the water. And you basically just want it to get it to a texture of like just any sort of glue. Probably honey is the best way to describe the texture. It's a bit hard to video record the whole process, so I'll just explain what I'm about to do before the next video will probably be with the instrument all wrapped up. So basically, heat up the glue, apply it along here, the outline of on the soundboard, applying it on the instrument as well. And then what you want to do is, and by the way, before I put the glue on the soundboard, I'll be heating it up. I'll be heating the instrument up just a little bit as well, because the glue sets very fast, and there's just a little bit of, sometimes it can set too fast. I just like to warm them both up at just a little bit. The next bit, I'll be putting sticky tape. Once the soundboard's on, I'll be wrapping it with probably 8 inches of sticky tape, probably one here, one here, one here, one here, just to get it into a really tight fit around the edges. And then I'll be wrapping it up with just a bit of cotton that I've got here as a final. I've also got a third piece of string, which if I need it, sometimes it's hard to get it to sit properly. You just need to keep wrapping it up and wrapping it up. So that's what I'm about to do, and I will come back when I've done all that. So the soundboard is now on, the glue went on, the sticky tape went on first at different angles, so you go around that way, you get one here, here and here initially, then you go around that way to make sure it sticks on properly around here. Probably the most important part of the gluing is along here, so you put a little bit more along here. Obviously the sides are only 2 mils. And then finally you put the red tape on. So I'll leave this on overnight, and I'll check it tomorrow. So it's the next morning, and I've taken off all the sticky tape and the tape, and that's what we get. That's what we've come up with. So the soundboard has stuck on really well. I just give it a little bit of pressure upwards to see if it hasn't caught on, but I've put quite a bit of glue there, so I was pretty confident. Sometimes you can get some little areas that don't stick, and you got to do the whole process again. It's happened to me once or twice. So the best thing to do is to use ample amounts of glue. So now what we do is we trim off, because we've still got that 5 or 10 mil protruding from the edges. So now what we do is with a sharp knife is just trim it off bit by bit, shave it off all around. Gets a bit hard around here, And once we get down to about 1 mil, we use a file, and we just file it down to get it flush in line with the body of the instrument. Can take a while, can take a couple of hours, so just got to be very patient. The instrument's very sensitive to touching movements, so excuse me. Once we get to a certain point and it's nice and close to the edge, we try not to damage the surface of the instrument, because obviously this has got a nice varnish on it, so but sometimes you do. So the goal is not to damage the surface, but if we do, we're going to have to sand the whole instrument back, which is not a big deal. We can do that quite easily with probably 200 grit sandpaper. Depending on if there's scratches, we may have to sand it a bit more, but that's some of the challenges you get with replacing a soundboard, is damaging the instrument, or the surface anyway, or even damaging the instrument, so you don't want to damage it. So up to now we haven't, so I'll do that over the next couple of hours, and let's see how good I can get it. So I've shaved off most of it, so this is just a little progress report. That's how it looks with the knife having gone through it. So now I'll use the file and see how good we can get it. Right, so the instrument now has been filed back. It looks quite, the top looks thicker, like 3 or 4 mil, but that's because it's on an angle. But I'll also be filing it down at the end anyway, so I can bring the thickness down. There's just a little bit of a gap here, which I'm going to it doesn't go up and down, so it's more the way that the way that it sits on the actual body. I'll fill that up with a bit of glue. So I've as is often the case, as mentioned, you do often get these little surface. They're not indentations or anything. Just a bit of taking off of the varnish. So I've had a word with the owner of this instrument. He's happy for me to give the whole instrument a very light sand, and we can also remove other sort of irregularities, other sort of minor issues. The advantage of doing that is you can almost bring back the instrument to a brand new status. So he's happy to do that. So I'll do that next. So stay tuned. Right, so we've given the instrument a light sand. In fact, we've given it a 200 grit sanding, 400 grit, and the last one was 1200. So it's almost back to bare. Well, it is back to bare wood. Okay, the bottom, and I've even done the head. I haven't done the top bit because that has the same lacquer as the fingerboard. So it's worked out fine. The joining of the soundboard is quite good. The little gap we had there, I've put some rabbit hide glue in there, and I've put a bit of wooden grains with PVA to block it up. So when the final oil goes on it, I will oil this instrument now, and I've spoken to the owner just to give you an idea what it's going to look like. I'll just use a damp cloth. That'll be the final finish of it. So it really brings out the natural colours of the wood. So yeah, the most exciting part of repairing an instrument, or even making one, is getting that final texture of the wood. It really does make it look brilliant. But anyway, that's a bit of a way to go. And actually, by the way, the 1200 grit, that's almost as soft as, it's really smooth. It's almost like a glass finish. So, and I'll give that another sanding before I finish it and oil it. Now, the next part of the procedure is opening up the sound holes. Now, I kept a diagram of the sound holes when I removed it. So this is exactly, so it's 14.2 mils from the bottom, measured it there, 5.5. The gaps from there to there, 3.3 centimetres, 3.5. Now the owner, we've decided to go for, you can either open them down the middle and do down the side, or we've decided to put the holes one on each side of the instrument. But anyway, the way I do that is with a soldering iron. So I'm about to do that now. Let's see if I can do it just to show you how it's done. So I want the hole to be just there. So there you can see it's just opened up a little bit of a hole, and this will start burning through the wood. And I will go on a slight angle. It's just tangled. Okay, so let's do that now. And that'll start burning through the wood now. I'll just focus. I can smell the wood burning. Here it is. You can probably hear it burning. Put a bit of pressure on it. Here we go. There we did. Once we get to the desired size of the hole, that should be enough, I think. I will sand that back and get rid of the excess burning of the wood. But anyway, I'll open the other three now and I'll return. Okay, so we're approaching the end of this restoration. The last part, or one of the last parts, is opening up the rest of the sound holes. So I use a very fine blade that looks like that, and you have to very carefully just come down along that line. So this is a Turkish instrument, so the lines are pretty much straight. The decision is how much you open them. Obviously you've got to take into account the fact that the sound post's got to go through there, so it'll probably be around two. Actually, I've got the sound post, so whatever the width of that sound post is, I'll open the sound hole according to that. So that'll be the next step. I won't put that on video. So once I've done that, I'll just give this a final coat, a final sand. I think that's all I need to do, and oil it, and then basically reassemble it. Excuse me, I won't put that on video. Just to give you an idea, this is the instrument that had that break. There's still that line there, but once I oil it, I think that'll very likely go away. This is the head of it. All that should be covered up. The oil, the sanding has taken away a lot of the indentations, scratches, minor scratches. There are still a few there, and I didn't want to sand it too much. Where is it? There was one on this side, right there. There's one little bit there which may just be part of the wood grain. You know, wood does have bore holes through them from insects and whatnot. So that'll all be part of the just part of the instrument. Once you put the oil on it, it's never going to be perfect. A piece of wood's never perfect. So even along here, there's some very minor scuff marks. But once you put oil on it, they'll all disappear. You can spend hours trying to get this perfect. But I've spoken to the owner of this one, and we're just going to do a quick one. He's got another instrument which I've shown, which I'll probably spend more time on. But anyway, the next video will most likely be the instrument reassembled. So the soundboards are now on, both of them. The sound holes have been opened, and I've pretty much completed now both the instruments. They've both been given Danish oil, so I sanded both of them back to wood, or at least I removed the lacquer that was already on there, and I prefer oil. And that's the final product. That is ebony, so that came up well. I sanded that back as well. There's a few scratches, But the soundboards, these two holes here, the previous luthier didn't open them. I've only put pencil marks here, so I'm going to ask the owner if he prefers without them or with them. The previous luthier did open two here, but he didn't open two here. But I'll I'll hand these over to the client now, and we'll see what his opinion is, and we may even get him to, I might encourage him to play a few tunes for us. I actually managed to break the middle string here, and I'm not sure what sort of strings these have, so I've left it here as it is, and the owner will put the string there. But it's worked out really well, I think. They look brand new now, both these instruments. I'm very happy. I usually put, because these are copper wires here, I like to put either a piece of leather. I've actually put a bit of an old credit card I had. I've managed to heat it up and bend it, so it just gives a bit of protection to the soundboard. I don't think it affects the sound of the instrument, but it does just protect the soundboard. Usually you get two big, massive indentations here from those pieces of wire, so I don't like that. We'll see what the owner thinks. I can easily remove them. But I think that's turned out really well. The holes have been opened exactly as the previous instrument. It's taken me probably a couple of weeks, working every day. So there it is, two instruments with two brand new soundboards. Hope you enjoyed the video.